Hello, Karen. Yes, in 2024, in fact, we faced a little bit of pressure on margins, and we performed well on volumes. But the most important thing, and this is why we delivered, I think, results that are exceeding, the guidance that we published earlier during the year, is really the cost-saving program. The separation end of 23 with the specialty chemical business really allowed us to focus on our cost savings, and we over-deliver, 110 million euros versus an expectation of 80. So this is expecting to continue in 2025, while the macroeconomics are not really improving.
I can see the cost savings to step up to 200 million from that 110 million that you cited. When it comes to the outlook, you've also got 2028 financial targets out, which surprises me given there are so many moving pieces around tariffs. We don't know what's happening on a 4-week basis, let alone right out to 2028. How can you set financial targets when there is so much uncertainty in the global economy?
In fact, there is uncertainty in the short term, and we know how to manage that. If you look at our past performance over the past 10 years, we've delivered mid-single-digit growth on our EBITDA, despite all the crises, because we are an extremely resilient business. If you talk about tariffs, more than 80% of our business is regional. It's local to local. So I'm not saying that we're not exposed to this, but I think our exposure is probably a bit lower than people think it is. Then, of course, we need to look at 2028 because in essential chemical businesses, the decisions you make today have an impact, over the mid to long term. So today we reconfirmed our targets, mid-single-digit growth of our EBITDA by 2028, and we also reconfirmed our sustainability targets in the new program for generations.
Philippe, so many questions for you. Thanks for joining us to take a few of them as well. Late last year, or in the second half of the year last year, you said Solvay's planning to supply Europe rare earth metals needed for manufacturing equipment, etc., to lower its dependence on Chinese companies. I would imagine the impetus, the need to lower our dependence on various trading partners is more to the fore now than it's ever been for Europe as well. What progress are we making, A, I guess on a company-by-company basis, but B, as a continent?
Well, last week, there's been a certain number of announcements by the European Commission, and we had a meeting with the chairwoman of the European Commission, and implementing, new value chain for critical raw materials was one of the topic. And here, clearly, we're there. We have the only plant in the world that is able, outside of China, that is able to produce any type of rare earth oxides, and in particular for permanent magnets, and that's very important if we want to develop sovereignty in Europe. We will start to produce the first tons in the next quarter. Of course, if we want to invest more, then we will need to have a value chain in place. So we count on the European policymakers to make this happen.